Hey everyone, it's Natalie. It's been raining all day, so I just got my hair up. I look like a hot mess, but oh well. Listen, girls, let me tell you something. Stop putting up with the BS with your mother-in-law. She's intentionally trying to destroy your relationship. Don't allow her to do that to you. These mother-in-laws have a very unhealthy relationship with their child. They're enmeshed with their children. It's called incestuous emotional attachment. So they have an incest relationship with their child emotionally. And I can tell you that through the years, the things that I tolerated and put up with, I should have really a long time ago put my foot down and stopped allowing it. But because I wanted to be a good girlfriend and wife and keep everyone happy and keep the peace in the family, I just continued to allow the abuse to happen. And looking back now that I've been no contact for 3 years, I wish I had spoke up sooner. But because I was raised where you respect your elders, you don't talk back to your elders, even if your elders are wrong, you still listen to them. You don't argue with them. You are always respectful towards them, even when they're not respectful towards you. So I live my life with those roles, and I wish I hadn't. I just feel as though the things that I tolerated were so blatantly disrespectful that I had the right to say something and I didn't, and I chose not to. It was out of fear. It was out of me not wanting my husband to look at me like I was a cruel person. And so year after year, I just basically, when I was around them, I would just stay silent and wouldn't really speak. And like my mother-in-law used to tell my husband all the time, like, oh, your girlfriend or wife doesn't like me. She never talks to me. And just saying things like that to him to make it seem as though I was the one with the problem. Like I was the one starting the conflict in the family by not speaking with her, by not forming a relationship with her and things like that. But like I told my husband, I said all the times that I did try to form a relationship with her, she would find out things about my life because I actually would put a little trust into that vulnerability of her trying to get to know me. And at the time, she would act like she was very empathetic and sympathetic about the things that I would talk to her about. But later on, would go to my husband and would mention the things that we privately talked about and how those attributes or those mistakes or those traumas that I talked to her about is the reason why he should leave me. And so for her to sit there and tell my husband that I didn't like her because I never talked to her, it was just a way of her trying to manipulate my husband into thinking or discrediting my character into thinking that I was the wrong person for him. And because they try to destroy your relationship in every aspect, I mean, sexually, they try to destroy your sex life. They try to destroy the relationship, the intimate relationship, the friendship you have with your partner, just everything, okay? Even with your children, they try to destroy it. But they find ways where they're sneaky about it. So they can't just like blatantly come out and say, well, maybe some of them do, but just blatantly come out and say something negative about you to their son. What they do is they use subliminal messages to get across to their child that you are an evil creature. And when you're dealing with a mother-in-law who is after you, and you know this, the best thing you can do is just stay quiet. Now, this doesn't mean, because I've had several people say, oh, you're telling people to stay quiet when they're crossing boundaries. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying when I say to stay quiet is don't share your personal information or your life with these people, ever. If they are crossing boundaries, 100%, you need to confront them and stick up for your boundaries. And if they continue to cross boundaries, then you put them in timeout. The only way to get your marriage and your life back is to go no contact or very low contact gray rock with these people. And it is difficult to do, especially if your husband isn't like aware of the situation, because then they look at you like you're the problem or whatever. But that's why it's important to point out the things that his parents or her parents do to you. I can't tell you how many times we would get in the car after visiting his parents and I would be crying and upset and bickering with my husband about why he didn't stand up for me, why he allowed his mom to say what she said, why she did that to me, why she excluded me from this and that. And it's really, I find it so bizarre that these mother-in-laws get offended when, let's say, for example, they will invite everyone to go somewhere, like out to eat or to a celebration, whatever it is, Christmas. They'll invite everyone, but then purposely tell your partner that you are not invited, but everyone else is. Do they give a reason? They don't give any reason. They do this to purposely hurt you, to make you feel unwanted, unloved, and uninvited. And then when you turn around and have your partner, or if you do, confront them about it, they play the victim like, oh, well, you took it the wrong way. I just wanted to spend time with just my family, because they don't consider you family. So when your partner is confronted, like, you didn't invite my wife, and then they play the victim and say, well, I just wanted my family. That's all. It was nothing against her. Well, you are part of that family if you're married to that person. And if you've been dating someone for long enough that you're living together and have a long-term relationship, you are part of that family, regardless if you're married to them or not. But they do these things to purposely hurt you. And when you're put in that situation, it hurts. It hurts you as a person to be uninvited or asked to step out of family pictures. I can't tell you how many times I was asked to step out of family pictures that were being taken, even though my husband and my child were in the picture. And so what I started doing, because right away, I just knew what type of person she was. So right away, I knew to keep my guard up. And what I can tell you if you're going through this is to keep your guard up. You have to stop going over to their home. If they invite you to go somewhere, you have to say you're busy. Just different things like that. You have to find a way to stay away from these people. If your husband is not waking up to the truth, to the fact that you are being mistreated, then you need to get into marriage counseling, because you need someone outside of your relationship to navigate and to be neutral in it. So if you have complaints or you're hurt, you can tell this therapist this is what had happened, and the therapist can explain to your partner why this is hurtful, why it's uncalled for, and why it's rude and things like that. But I know through the years, I felt like I wasn't part of the family. Even though I've been with my husband for 22 years, I just never fit in. Never. And the way that it makes you feel, it really makes you feel like you're alone. It makes, because you wait your whole life to meet this special person, to meet someone that you can spend the rest of your life with. But you didn't sign up to be mistreated to be with this person. And it's by force that you have to be around these people because you're married to their child. And so you're forced into being abused. And if you see that you're being abused, you need to step away from that relationship. And if your husband chooses to, or wife chooses to stay in that relationship with his parents, then you can excuse yourself out of it. These are nasty, cruel individuals who do not give a damn about you. And if you find yourself thinking about it all the time and crying about it and trying to understand it, honestly, you're just wasting your time, because they don't care that you're hurt. They don't care that you're crying at night or whenever. They don't care that you feel left out and unwelcomed and unloved. They don't care. And so because they don't care, wasting your energy thinking that by crying and thinking about it and trying to fix it is going to make you feel better as a person. It's not, because they're not going to be willing to want to fix this with you. The whole mission is to destroy your relationship. You have now can't come into this family and stole the admiration and attention away from the narcissist, and now have stolen it for yourself. This is the way that they look at it. And the way that you have to continue, tolerating this type of abuse can really take a toll on you as a person. If you can find ways to stop spending so much energy and time on thinking about why you're not accepted, and if you're ever going to be accepted, then I suggest that you start retraining your thinking patterns. You start retraining these negative thoughts, these hopeful wishes that you have, these fantasies that you have, because everybody wants a loving, caring family. Everyone wants to be accepted and loved. But unfortunately, you've entered into a relationship with someone whose family is basically a cult, a narcissistic cult, and you'll never fit in. And so by wasting the time and energy on trying to figure out how to fit in, instead what you should be doing is using that same energy to build yourself up as a person, to find out who you are and to love yourself. Because right now you're not loving yourself. Right now you're torturing yourself. And so these people aren't worth the energy and time that you're putting into this. They're not going to love you. They're not going to accept you. And so you have to accept the fact that you did not get the people that you deserve. And so instead of, focusing on that, you have to start focusing on yourself and doing what's good for you. Because by focusing on these negative things about the narcissist, it's not helping your life. And the goal in life is to live a happy, healthy life. And you're not doing that right now because you're so worried about what these people think about you and so worried about if you'll ever be accepted. I hate to tell you this, but it's not going to happen. It won't. I tried for 22 years and never happened. And these mother-in-laws, they're cruel people. And they're going to get, when they meet their maker, they're going to get it. They're definitely, I'm a Christian, and I know people like that don't go to heaven. And I also know that because my husband has normalized his parents' behavior, he doesn't see it as clearly as I do. And so it's really hard to have your husband see the same things that you see, the same point of views that you have about his parents. It's hard to get him to see that because they have indoctrinated him. So what he thinks might be healthy is actually really unhealthy. And so he doesn't know that how you see as parents is unhealthy. That he thinks that the way that you see as parents is maybe, I don't know, maybe he thinks you do think they're healthy, but they're not. And that's what you try to explain to your partner. Like, you're not living in a healthy relationship with your parents. Your parents are very disrespectful, and they don't allow you to live your own life. That's the thing about a couple, is when you become a couple, you find that identity together, as you identify as a couple, and you find the balance in that relationship. But when you're dealing with like an enmeshed mother, she never allows you to form that identity as the couple, because she sees herself as identifying with her child. So then what happens is, when the child starts to step away from the mother and starts to find their own identity, the mother freaks out and starts treating you bad, trying to get rid of you so she can have her child back. So she can have her identity back, because that's what it's really all about, is her depending on that child to find her identity, to know who she is as a person, because narcissists are scared individuals, even though they will never tell you that, because they don't know who they are as a person. They latch on to their children to identify, or to, I guess in a way, they form their identity by like their children's accomplishments and friends. This is why a lot of times narcissistic mothers, if they have a daughter, will go out partying with their child and start dressing like a teenager again and stuff, because they mirror their children's identity and take their children's identity on for themselves. So they start identifying themselves as that child. And it's really selfish, because the child is constantly having to please the mother, and constantly having to reassure the mother that the child will always be there for her. Like they don't ever want to let their mother down. And so the enmeshed mother puts this immense pressure on the child to constantly be in the parent's life, to constantly reassure the parent that the child main relationship in their life is with the mother and not with like their spouse or whatever. And that's one of the big problems, is that the mother, that's why she doesn't like you. The mother doesn't like the fact that now their child is not paying them the attention that they once had, because the child now has formed a relationship with you and is now forming that relationship and that identity in that relationship together with you. And so this is why the mother starts becoming aggressive and possessive and like, just doing weird stuff, doing creepy stuff, because she doesn't know who she is. She's lost without her child. And I can tell you one thing, is that they're creepy. Man, these enmeshed parents, they're creepy, dude. They my mother-in-law, every time we would go to her house or we were around her, she was constantly giving my husband massages, rubbing his back, hanging on him, doing everything. I mean, if she could, she would have fed him like a baby, cutting up his food, just doing stuff. And while she's doing this, she would be looking at me in my eyes. So even though I was the spouse and I'm the one that should be touching my husband, she, as soon as we'd walk in the door, she would start doing all these creepy things, taking my identity as her own. So taking me as, the identity of the wife and mirroring me and treating my husband as though she was me. And just like, and that's the thing is that even, and also like these enmeshed children, some of them stay virgins. Some of them never leave their home because they don't want to disappoint their parent by going out and finding a relationship. I know of 2 people that one's in their 40s, one's in their 30s. They're still virgins and they still live at home. Okay? Because they're too scared of, I guess, disappointing their parent by bringing someone into their life to love. Because the parent has embedded in them. Their parent has taught them that the only person that you can be in a relationship with is me. And I feel really bad for my brother-in-law because he's my age. I'm 36. I think he might be 35. But he's never had a serious girlfriend. He is always doing weird things like surprising his mom with gifts and surprising her with home visits. Well, now he's living with her. But, he did have his own place, but then he gave his place up and now he's a pilot. He flies. And so now when he's not working, he's living at home with his mom. And this is the same brother-in-law that told me to get the hell up out of his family, that nobody wants me in his family, in their family, because my mother-in-law always ran to my brother-in-law and complained about me to him, when my brother-in-law is so blinded by who his mother is that he can't see that his mother is the reason for all of this drama. His mother is the reason why nobody is getting along right now, because it's either her way or the highway. And if you don't do it her way, then she's going to smear you and play the victim and make it seem as though you're the problem when she created the problem. And see, at one time, my husband was the golden child and my brother-in-law was the scapegoat. But after my husband started dating me, the roles reversed. And so now they blame everything on my husband. I mean, for crying out loud, they even sent my husband to a psychiatrist 3 different times to be put on medication because they thought he was mentally ill for wanting to be with me and not listening to his parents to break up with me. I mean, these people are really sick in their head. And then I thought I had a very good relationship with my brother-in-law, but come to find out, he was going back and telling my mother-in-law everything me and Jared were doing in life. And that's how she knew a majority of the things that we were doing, because we could never figure out, how did she know this? How did she know that? And never in a million years did we think that my brother-in-law was going back and telling the mother anything, because he hung out with us. I mean, we grew up together. We went to high school together. We took vacations together. We spent Christmas and holidays and birthdays and everything with him. And I really honestly thought that he knew the way his mother treated me was wrong. And I also thought the whole reason why he never had a girlfriend is because he saw the way that his mother treated his brother and me, and it scared him to the point that he just decided never to get married or look for a girlfriend. Because at this age, when you're in your mid-30s, you're getting married, you're having children, you're starting your life. But instead, what does he do? He hangs out with his mother. It's crazy. It's crazy. But, look, this is just kind of rambling on. I didn't talk too much about enmeshment. I told Joy I was going to do a video on enmeshment. But, I just kind of wanted to come on here and let you know that you're not alone. You're not going crazy. It's not your fault. You should have no blame, no shame. Everything that's happening is because of the in-law, the narcissistic in-law. You didn't start this war, but I can tell you something. They might win battles, but you'll win the war if you listen to the things that I am telling you to do. And that is to stay cool, collective, calm, and quiet. I'm telling you right now, don't ever share anything about your life with these people. And you need to make sure you tell your spouse not to share anything about your relationship with his parents. If they end up asking about anything, you just have your partner, or you say, everything's going great, thanks for asking. You don't go into detail. You owe nobody an explanation. You just stay very neutral, surface with them when you have conversations. And that, really, honestly, just try to stay the hell away from them. Peace, love, harmony. Bye, guys.